Okay, so now that we know how to write functions, let's look at a problem that we want to solve using a function. And so what we want to do is to count the number of, so we want to count the number of digits in an integer. Okay, so for example, negative 1200 has 4 digits. Okay, so let's build this. So we have our prototype. It will return an int, of course, telling us the number of digits. We will call the function number of digits. Okay, and the function will accept a number. Okay, an integer. Okay, so let's implement this. In fact, let's set up our code. So let's just say int test value is negative 1200. Okay, and we know that the answer should be 4. Okay, and then I will save the result. So int result, let me call the function number of digits test value. Okay, and then I will print the result. Test value has result digits. I'll stop. Okay. Great. The function call. Let me move this up right here. Okay. So let's implement. Okay. I know I went ahead and I did step 3, but let's just get it out of the way anyways. So let's go to the important part, which is implementing. So number of digits int number. Okay. So how do we approach this problem? Well, we will assume that 0 is not allowed. Okay, so 0 is not allowed. So let's just deal with 0. So we will assume that 0 should not be checked. Okay, so in other words, if the user puts in 0, so if they call the function with 0, then we'll just say, you know what, the answer is 1. So if number is 0, then the answer is 1. And so we don't want to execute the rest of the code, so we will just say return 1. Okay, so what I have done here is to tell the function if the person enters 0, if the argument is 0, then the answer is 1. And notice I say return 1. So the function will exit and it will return the number 1. Now, if the number that was passed in is not 0, then we need to actually do the work. Okay, and so to do the work, we have to do a few things, which is we'll find the absolute value of the integer. Okay, so if the person enters negative 1200, we don't want to worry about the negative. That's unimportant. So we want to make it 1200. And that's easy enough. We'll simply say int, well, abs of number is, we're going to call it absolute function, and we're going to give it number. And so you might be asking, where does this absolute function come from? All right. Well, it's actually found in another library, and I'll put it up here. It's found in the math library. So Pong include, and it's going to be CSTDLIB. Okay. So in this library, there are many functions, and one of them is abs. Okay, absolute value. Okay, which is something you already know about. The absolute value of a negative number is the positive number. Okay, so that's the first thing we need to do. Get the absolute value of the number. Now, once we have that, then we need to, okay, so we will count the number of digits in the number. Okay, and so a pattern to do that is this, is by using a while loop. So I will create a counter. So I'll say count int count is 0. Okay, so in count I will store how many digits I end up with. And so to do that, I will simply say while, okay, while abs of number greater than 0, what do I want to do? I want to increment count. Okay, and so now, for example, if I enter, let's say 55, okay, or negative 55, the absolute value will be 55. Okay, and so now I will ask, is 55 greater than 0? Yes, it is. So it must have a digit. So I will say count is count plus 1. So it's 1 digit. And so now this is the important part. I want to remove one of the digits. Okay, and the easiest way to do that is by using the division operator. And so I will say abs of number will be the old abs of number divided by 10. Okay, and I will use the magic number 10. Okay, because all I'm saying is if you divide any number by 10, okay, you will end up with the number except the last number. In other words, if I do 55 divided by 10, I actually will get 5. Okay, and so this is a pattern we use to strip off the rightmost digit of any number. If you want to strip off any number from the right side, you simply divide by 10. Okay? An integer number, you divide by 10. And you will be left with the rest of the digits. So for example, if I had 5599 and I divide by 10, well, that will leave me with 559. Okay, it just strips off the last 9. Okay, so that's a useful pattern that you should remember. If you want the last digit from a number, divide by 10. However, you must ensure that this number or this variable is of type integer. This only works if the variable is an integer. Okay. And that's what I will do, and that's what I'll keep doing. So after I strip off, let's say it's 55, after I strip off the 55, it will become 5. And so now I will go back into the loop, right? So is 5 greater than 0? Yes. And so I will add one more to count, and then count will then be 2. And then I will divide again. So what is 5 divided by 10? Not possible. But since it's an integer divided by an integer, then the compiler will return 0. Okay? It will return 0. And so now I will come back and I will ask, is 0 greater than 0? No, it's not. And so that will exit the loop. And so when it exits the loop, all I have to do is to return the answer, which is easy, right? Return count. That's it. Okay, so this is a good pattern that you should remember. To strip off a number, you simply divide by 10. However, both must be integers. This only works with integers. Okay, so we should get 4. So let's see if this works. Okay, so negative 1200 has 4 digits. Now let's see if it works with 0. Okay, so if I give this 0, we should get back 1, because when we hit our function, when we jump to our function, this is the first thing we'll do. Return 1. When you return 1, then none of this gets executed. Because return, if you remember, means leave. Okay, so return means leave. Okay, so 0 has 1 digits. Okay, just to show you that again, I will take the code, okay, and I will copy it into Python Tutor, just to show you that you can prematurely leave a function simply by putting a return statement. Okay, so if you want to leave a function prematurely, all you have to do is put a return statement. Okay, that's it. All right, so you'll see this quite a lot in programs where if something is not right or you didn't get what you wanted, you could just immediately leave the function. So let me show you what that looks like. Okay, so we just keep going here. Here, we jump to the function. We know number is 0, and so we will check the if, which will turn out to be true. And so if it turns out to be true, we will simply execute line 27, which you'll notice will end the function and will go right back to main. All right, so there, we're back to main. Let me show you that again. All of this code is skipped. All right, and we return 1. Now, if we didn't put 1 and we put maybe negative or just 1100, 1111, then you'll notice that we will now skip the conditional, the if, and we'll execute the rest of the code. Okay, so we come here, all right? So notice this will be false, so we skip that, and we will go down here, all right? And we keep at it, and notice how the value will change. It will go from 1111 to 111, right? And then we come back, and then we increment count by 2, and then you strip off the other one, it becomes 11. And then we come back, and then we add 1, then we strip off another 1, okay? And then finally, we come back here, we increment count one more time, and we strip off that last one, which gives us 0, all right? Because 1 divided by 10 is 0, because it's an integer division. And finally, 0 will make us break out of the loop. And so after we break out of the loop, we will end up on the next line of code, which says to return the answer, return count. And so when we do that, remember everything in here will die when we leave. And that's the reason why we have the answer in count. We have to return it. Okay? Otherwise, it is lost forever. All right, and there we go. Let me again. So there we go. The function is no longer alive, but we returned the answer. And so the answer is 4, which we can safely print. Okay, so that's it for this unit when it comes to functions. In the next section, in the next unit, we will discuss object-oriented programming. In other words, how do we create our own types? I'll see you in that unit.